The Shadowlands pre-patch is less than a month away at this point, and with that pre-patch will come the level squish, which is quite a big game-changing thing. And I've seen a lot of confusion and questions around the level squish in general, so what I did was research all the questions I could see about the level squish, and then put this video together to answer as many of those questions as possible. So to kick things off, I wanted to talk about the base of what the level squish even is, and it's pretty much what it says it is. Our level currently will be squished down to a smaller level. So we're currently level 120 in BFA. When the pre-patch comes out, we'll be squished down to level 50. And then we'll level from level 50 to level 60 in Shadowlands. And if you're level 60 right now, for example, you'll be squished down to level 25. If you're level 25, you'll be squished down to roughly level 10. Basically, your current level is divided by 2.4. And that's how things are going to be moving forward. The max cap will be 60, and then maybe the expansion past Shadowlands, it'll be level 70, and we'll go from there. But not only as our kind of level squished, but also our damage and numbers are squished down to that level as well. So if you're doing like 1 million damage currently in BFA, then you're not going to be doing 1 million damage when the pre-patch comes out. You're going to be squished down to numbers that would be seen around level 50-ish. So now that you hopefully better understand what the base of the level squish is, we can start talking about the things that are impacted around the level squish, new things that were added, things that were changed, etc., and things that you might just be confused about. So first up is Blizzard have kind of re-looked at the leveling experience, and what they've said is we want it so you level from just one expansion. You're not going through multiple expansions. Instead, you'll just pick an expansion and level through it. They've also added a new player experience called Exile's Reach, which is what new players will be able to go through, and old players if you wish to. But if you're a brand new player to WoW, you'll be forced into the Exile's Reach, which is kind of a tutorial, and it'll get you from level 1 to level 10. As a old player, if you've already got a max level character or whatever, you'll be able to pick if you want to level in the old school kind of race starting areas, like Durotar, or you'll be able to go through the new experience in Exile's Reach, which is worth doing, by the way, if you've never done it before, because there is some cool, updated, kind of basic looking gear in there, so worth checking out. The next new feature coming with the level squish is going to be Chromie's Timewalking Adventure, also known as Chromie Time, and this allows players between level 10 and 49 to hunt down Chromie in Orgrimmar or Stormwind. There'll be a big hourglass on the map, you can't really miss her. And then you'll be able to pick an expansion between BC and BFA as the one you kind of want to level through. But this isn't as impactful as people are making it out to be. It doesn't lock you into an expansion. You're not forced to just do those zones. You can still pick and mix various expansions if you want to. It's mainly there for just a few reasons. First of all, to get you set on the way. So if you are confused of where to start the expansion, it's going to help you start that expansion smoother. It's also going to fix any phasing issues. If you need a specific NPC to be there, that'll phase that in. And then it's also going to lock you to that specific expansion's dungeons. So if you set BC as your Chromie Timewalking, then you'll only have BC dungeons in your kind of dungeon queue. But I do believe they're adding a feature where if you're in queue too long, it'll then ask if you want to branch out to the other dungeon expansions, just so you get a bit of a quicker queue. But essentially, it won't matter which one you pick, because the zones are going to work very similar to how they do right now. They're just going to be pulled down a lot as well. So if you want to go to the Jade Forest first, and you've picked BC as your time walking, you can. You just head over to the Jade Forest, start leveling in the Jade Forest, that's not a problem. The only thing that's going to restrict you is these zones level kind of restrictions. So if you want to go to Grizzly Hills, but you're only level 11, Grizzly Hills might have a level 20 to 30 requirement. So until you hit level 20, you won't be able to go into Grizzly Hills, and that's it. That's the only requirement. So you could even do it so if you really like BC dungeons, but you want to level through Wrath, you would set your Chromie Timewalking to BC, and then just take the Zeppelin over to Wrath and start leveling through Borean Tundra, not a problem. You could do that, and that's completely fine. So hopefully that irons out what Chromie Time is and makes it seem less daunting. It's basically just to help you along your way. You can still do whatever you want in terms of leveling. The next thing to talk about though is you might be asking, well, which expansions are going to be fastest to level through? Unfortunately, I don't have an answer for that though. I've not been able to run through the various expansions or the high kind of yield zones or whatever and figure out a fastest path. And there's not enough data out there yet either for me to say, well, this person's figured it out. But what I can tell you is what Blizzard are aiming for and what the general player base is getting in terms of leveling speeds right now. So for 1 to 50, it's looking like the very fast players are going to be about 6 hours, and the slower end are going to be kind of 12 hours plus. So it's going to be vastly faster than it is right now, which I think is a good thing overall. So you're not going to be taking ages to get from 1 to 50. So if you want to level alts, probably best waiting for the pre-patch. And then the super fast people are able to do it in sub 6 hours, like Despacito. He's power leveler and he's done it in like 4 or 5 hours. Then you've also got Mr. GM, who took advantage of the Chromie Timewalking in dungeons and got someone who wasn't time walk synced to kind of power leveling through dungeons. And that got him leveled in I think 3 hours. But I don't think that's something that's going to be intended and will stick around. Maybe it will though, and power leveling will be back on the table. So the next thing to talk about is experience heirlooms and changes to experience items in general. Because the leveling experience is so much faster now, Blizzard has removed experience from heirlooms. And you might be saying, well, are heirlooms pointless now? Not as useful as they were previously, but they still do have some use. So they've added a set bonus to them now. If you get a 2 set, you get like more rested experience when you're offline or in an inn. The 4 set is if you kill mobs and level, you'll get like an AoE blast and you'll get a stat buff for a couple of minutes. And then the 6 set bonus is you'll get more use out of your rested XP. So not amazing, but the other nice thing about heirlooms as well is you're going to be leveling so quick that you're not going to be getting the gear to keep up with the speed. And heirlooms will be good for kind of keeping those slots relevant and keeping your player power relevant. So I think they're still going to be worth using and definitely relevant and worth having. They're not completely useless either way. The other thing they've done to experience items is removed most of them from the game, the vast majority. So things like the Elixir of Ancient Knowledge or Rapid Minds, those are going to be grey items that are no longer any use. So if you sat in any of the BOE ones, I would recommend using them or selling them as soon as possible. Things like the Garrison Potion, that's going to be gone as well. The Monk experience buff is going to be reworked into a Rested experience buff. So all those things are gone. And the only thing that's going to be sticking around is the Draft of the 10 Lands, I think it's called. The 10% bonus from BFA. And that's going to work, but it'll be capped at level 50. So that's the only experience bonus we're going to have left from other sources. So that's the bulk of the main stuff to talk about. Now I can start answering the various questions I've seen online that people are confused about. The first thing was you're already leveling through the content. What now? Say you're level 60 right now, you jump in, you've been squashed down to level 25. What do? Well, nothing. You can just carry on leveling as normal. If you were leveling through Borean Tundra, you can carry on leveling through Borean Tundra, not a problem. You don't have to go and get Chromie Time, you don't have to do anything special. You'll still get the same experience for quests, even if you're on Chromie Time or not. So just go wild and start questing and leveling up and you're a-okay. The next question I was seeing people ask quite a lot was what's going on with old content. So say you're max level now, you're level 120, you're going to be scaled down to level 50, but are you going to be able to solo the content you could previously? And the answer is essentially yes. I'll have some footage up now showing me leveling on the beta and also on live, not leveling, sorry, running through Mythic Nighthold. Something that's fairly challenging, but still very doable. And it's pretty much the same experience. And if it ends up being the way that you can't solo stuff you could previously, I'd imagine Blizzard will just come in and tweak it and nerf it. It's not something I'd worry about because their intent is for you to still be able to solo this content. They've said it. So if it's something is slightly out of whack, give it a week and I'd imagine they'll hotfix it in and we'll be a-okay there. But for the most part, things seemed pretty much fine. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then a question related to that, I've seen people asking what level the raids are going to be now because of the level squish. It's kind of weird. Vanilla raids will be level 25, BC 27, Wrath of the Lich King level 30, Cataclysm level 32, Mr. Pandaria 35, WoD 40, Legion 45, and then BFA 50. Then obviously Shadowlands will be 60. So things like WoD and MOP and stuff as a level 50 character are going to still be very trivial. And then Legion, still a little bit trickier, but if you were able to solo it previously, then you should be able to roughly solo it now, but do keep in mind any clash changes, you're going to be losing like corruption and stuff, so you're not going to be as strong as you are right now, and that might also be a factor for not being able to solo stuff, so just keep that in mind too. The next question was about the mount riding skill changes. So if you weren't aware, they're making pretty big changes to the mount riding stuff because obviously you need different levels to do this stuff now. And the way it's going to work is for your base ground mount, you'll need to be level 10. For your journey riding, which is 100% mount, you'll need level 20. For your flying, you'll need level 30, and then for 310 flying, you need level 40. And if you own two 80% flying currently, then unfortunately you're out of luck. You're not going to get a free upgrade. Even though 280% isn't obtainable anymore, you're just going to have 280 flying, and you'll be able to purchase 310 from the vendor if you do want that extra speed. And then they're also making it so Legion and WoD pathfinding is also on the vendor to learn too. So once you're able to fly, you're going to be able to pick up WoD or Legion pathfinding, and you're going to be able to fly in those zones if you hadn't done the achievements previously. To get the mount from the WoD pathfinding though, you still will need to do those achievements, so if you're after the mount, do keep that in mind. But to fly in those zones, yet no achievements needed anymore, which is quite a welcome change. And then also related to that, people are asking, well, I'm level 60 now and I can fly, but when the pre-patch comes out, I'm going to be level 25. Am I still going to be able to fly? And the answer is yes. Currently, it seems you'll keep your flying skill and you'll be able to fly as normal, so don't worry about that. Another question I was seeing quite a lot was people asking, if they don't currently own Shadowlands, will you be squished down in the pre-patch? Yes, you'll get all the content available in the pre-patch, whether you own it or not. So you'll be forced into that squish whether you like it or not. So be ready for that. Other question was, are pet battles going to be affected by the level squish? No, pet battles is exactly the same as they are now. Also a question about transmog with the new level requirements. Are you still going to be able to transmog stuff? And the way it's going to work currently on the beta at least is stuff that didn't have a requirement still doesn't have a requirement. And then all the transmog between vanilla and BFA will require level 10. And then the Shadowlands stuff will require level 48. So you're going to be able to unlock the vast majority of your transmog at level 10. But keep in mind that stuff that you only own, you're not just going to get given transmog for free. It's just going to be gear from like BFA and stuff you can transmog on your character at level 10 onwards. Then I was seeing quite a few questions about the leveling difficulty and also party sync, where those things exist. The leveling difficulty will remain pretty much the same. I didn't really notice a big difference between the time to kill on mobs between live and beta. So if you're killing stuff within a couple of globals, you're going to be killing stuff within a couple of globals on the release as well. So don't worry about that. There might be some oddities here and there where an elite you could kill previously might be kicking your ass now. But in general, the vast majority of the content should feel relatively the same. In terms of party sync, that's still going to be a feature as well. Party sync will exist. You'll be able to use it to sync other players down to you, and you can repeat quests and do all that stuff. That's still a feature that's still going to exist and work the same as it does now, even with Chromie Time active or not active. The next question has quite a lot going on, and that was, I've seen people talking about crafted gear and also a little bit about twinking. And in terms of crafting gear, things have changed quite a lot. So crafting gear mostly scales up to level 50 now. So a lot of those recipes from BC, Wrath, Vanilla, etc. A lot of these epic pieces are just level 50 by default now. So you're not going to be able to use those on a twink or whatever. And some of these older pieces that have maybe a level of requirement of 12, 18, whatever, you're going to be able to get a special optional item for the craft that can scale the item higher level in general as well. So that weird level green, level 7 green gloves, you could actually get an item for those green gloves that will boost their equip level from level 7 to level 50. So it's kind of weird and probably not going to be used that much often, but it does make some interesting stuff for twinking. So yeah, keep that in mind. So crafting has definitely been impacted by this stuff, and some things that you're able to use previously you might not be able to use anymore. And then some stuff you might be able to have fun with and make like a cool level 50 twink now that has all these crazy gem sockets and effects and all that jazz. The next thing to talk about are hero classes and allied races. So currently a hero class like a demon hunter would start at level 98. And in the pre-patch, if you make a brand new demon hunter in the pre-patch, it'll actually start at level 8. So if you plan, and same with DK as well, both DK and DH will start at level 8 both. So if you do plan on playing any of those two classes, I would recommend making them now before the pre-patch, because you're just going to be higher level in general. So if you make a DH right now, get through the starting area stuff, it'd be like level 100, then you'd be squished down to like level 45 or something. So you're just going to be higher level in general for way less time spent. So I definitely would recommend making those classes now if you do plan on playing them. And then allied races are going to be level 10 now. And interestingly enough, if you make an allied race DK, that'll go from level 8 to level 10. Not sure why it works like that, but it does so. It's probably because of the new allied race DK starting area thing. So that's why that works like that. But yeah, so you're going to get a slightly higher level as an allied race DK. Also, on top of that, they've changed the level requirement for heritage armor. So you'll need level 50 now for heritage armor, and it was previously level 110, which should be level 45. So you're going to have to go a little bit further to get your heritage armor. But with the speed of leveling now, it's going to be faster in general anyway to get your heritage armor, so I don't think that's that big of a deal, honestly. I also seen quite a few questions asking about gold. Is gold being nerfed or changed, or are you going to have less gold? Nothing's changing with gold. You're going to get less gold from leveling, but that's because you're going to spend less time leveling now, so you might not end up with as much gold as you did prior. But in general, your quests are still going to be given like a few gold each and all that stuff. So yeah, realistically, gold's the same. Vendors will still cost the same. Mounts and stuff will still cost the same. There's no gold squish coming. The last question I unfortunately wasn't able to answer. I couldn't find a solid answer on this at all. And that was a free-to-play cap for WoW. So if you're free-to-play player, you just like playing the trial and stuff, what level will you be able to play to? Because obviously you could play to level 20 previously. What level are you going to be able to play to now? I would imagine it's level 10 because of the Exile Reach starting stuff. That'll probably be the free-to-play experience. You'll go for Exile's Reach and then you'll be done. They might take the approach of like Final Fantasy XIV where they vastly buffed the free-to-play experience, but currently there's no real signs of that happening. So I would put my money on it being a 1 to 10 experience for the free-to-play players. So do keep that in mind. But I don't have a solid answer, so also keep that in mind as well. So that brings us to the end of the kind of big overview of the level squish. I tried to make this as quick as possible, but some of these points felt hard to kind of go through quickly. So hopefully I wasn't too quick, and hopefully it wasn't too long either. It was a good amount that you're now not confused about these systems. But if you are confused, just leave a question down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can to hopefully clear things up. Outside of that, I want to say we've got a little bit better, but we still have about 87% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So if you did enjoy the content, you think you'd like to see more from me, then hit that subscribe button because it just helps me out and it's something you can do very easily. Outside of that, look out for more videos coming soon. I'm going to be pumping out more content and Shadowlands content very soon as well. So thanks for watching, guys. See ya.